I would think, what is it that I like? What do I enjoy? And my Christian faith, for me, endurance sports, triathlon clubs, online and offline, things like that, where there's a connection point, and I would go make friends, and I would make as many friends as I possibly could, connecting with people and discovering their needs, finding out, how can I serve you? How can I help you? What resource do you need? What are you most excited about this year? And how can I help you with that, Simon? Is there somebody I can connect you with? Is there a resource I may be able to have? How can I serve you? And when you go through life going, how can I serve you? I mean, it's just the reciprocal nature of the fact of the matter is, people, at least givers will, and those are the people I want to do business with, are going to say, how can I serve you? How can I want to do business with this guy or gal? They're awesome.
Welcome to MLM Nation, a podcast of leaders, by leaders, for leaders, hosted by Simon Chan. He's built a team of over 200,000 and is now a full-time MLM coach and trainer. So if you're ready to level up your business, join us now. Let's do this.
MLM Nation, this is Simon Chan. I'm fired up to bring our special guest today. He's so good. This is the third time I'm bringing him back on. We have the one and only Allan Blain. Hey, Allan, are you ready to make it happen?
I am ready to make it happen, Simon. Thank you so much for having me back.
Allan Blain and his wife, Nicole, was a customer of the company's products for 15 years. Yes, 15 years, 15 years before they finally decided to launch their business and get started. 7 years later, they became the number one team in North America for the $250 million company and have built a team of over 12,000 people worldwide. Allan is also the best-selling author of the new book, Life's Hard, Succeed Anyway, and also has his own podcast. Allan and his wife have been married for over 31 years. They have 6 children and live out in Nashville, Tennessee. And like I said before, this is Allan's third time on MLM Nation. Definitely check out his previous episodes. Episode 379 was really our first year of MLM Nation. It was eight and a half years ago, and episode 721. So anyway, Allan, welcome to the show. Take us back to your story. How did you become a customer and then decide not to do it and finally decided to go ahead and do it 15 years later?
Yeah, well, I know, I guess I'm a slow learner, Simon. It took us 15 years to realize what a great opportunity we all have in this incredible industry that Nicole, my wife, and I love so much and just are thrilled about. But yeah, we actually found the company that we are currently with 23 years ago as a result of Nicole's health challenges in our late 20s. So her health challenges led us on a journey for solutions. And that led us a couple of years later, eventually, to the company that we're currently with. And after getting incredible results with the products, we were believers. We were raving fans of the product. I mean, we wouldn't go a day without the product, but I lacked the belief that because we do work together, could really succeed in this business. Nicole seemed like, she has the personality for it. I, on the other hand, we have this in common, Simon. And I know people today that didn't know us back then wouldn't believe it about you. Well, they tell me they don't believe it about me, but extremely shy, extremely introverted, extremely insecure. And so I didn't believe I could really have the success in this industry, but I love the products. So did my wife. So we used the products daily for 15 years. It was almost 9 years ago now that 15 years into product use that something changed. We caught a vision and jumped all in the business. 16 months later, we were 6-figure income earners. I walked away from my full-time day job and career, gave my business away, walked away from a much higher income for a much less income, my 6-figure network marketing income, to do this full-time because we believed in what we were doing. We were passionate about what we're doing. And we caught a vision of what could be with this that I didn't have in my old careers. And we've never once regretted it. There've been a couple times along the way that we're like, we're doing the right thing, when we got punched in the face and life, gave us some hard knocks. But we always came back to looking at what was our original vision? Why are we doing what we're doing? What is the alternative? How many lives are going to be impacted this way versus that way? And we always came back to, no, we're right where we need to be. let's keep going. And I'm so thankful that we did.
You said you lack belief. So, and how did you build that belief? How did you get that belief and confidence to, hey, I can do this?
Thankfully, I had a mentor and dear friend that spent a year and a half with me, trying to help me help see a vision for my life that was much bigger than the vision I had 9 years ago in my early 40s. So that was part of it. Through the process, though, of that year and a half, he did a really good job of pointing to other examples of other people, success stories, and just kind of walking me through, again, a year and a half. I was his prospect, essentially, a year and a half of helping me build my belief and build my confidence. And it was just done through facts, through stories, through other people's examples. Um, I guess that's the answer. It just took me a year and a half to get to the point that, you know what? And I'll say this, he shared enough over that year and a half, Simon, that it got Nicole and I to a company convention in March of 2015. And I was almost all in at that point, but I wasn't until we went to that event. And that event was the thing that gave me the belief. I saw people on stage doing things I could hope to someday do that I thought, Nicole and I both thought, you know what? It's no down on them because we're nothing special. We're just ordinary people. But if they can do it, we can do it because they were just ordinary people.
You said you're shy, introverted. How can someone, and a lot of people listening are like that too. What tips can you share for people who are shy and introverted?
Well, boy, a ton. The first thing that comes to mind, and I love thinking about this way. We hear a lot about comfort zone, where regardless of one's level of shyness, we all have a comfort zone. There is a line in the sand. This particular activity makes us comfortable, and stepping across that line makes us uncomfortable. The reason why is because these uncomfortable activities, talking to people, being outgoing, starting conversations with strangers, these things that make us an introvert, make us shy, they're scary. And the reason why they're scary is because our level of capability in that area is low. If we were capable in that area, if we viewed ourselves as efficient and capable of communication with a stranger or whatever the fearful thing is, then we would do it. It would be within our comfort zone. So here's the thing. Instead of viewing my comfort zone, it's all mindset, and I know you know this, but instead of viewing my comfort zone as a fixed circle around me and choosing to step outside of my comfort zone to do the thing I fear, I viewed it as, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand my comfort zone. Every single time I do something that's uncomfortable, I'm expanding my comfort zone. And I would go back to things I could wrap my head around. I like to be able to put an example in my mind that I can focus on. I'm like, hey, every time I ate as a baby and it ran down my chin and on my bib, it was uncomfortable. Every time I tried to take a step as a 1-year-old or 9-month-old or whatever I was, and I fell and had to pick myself back up, it was uncomfortable. And every time I tried to ride a bike and fell, it was uncomfortable. And every time I tried to say my first word, dad, dad, mom, ma, and I couldn't say it, it was uncomfortable, but I did it enough to where it became comfortable. So therefore my comfort zone expands. So as simple as it may sound, just acknowledging that, whoa, getting on a Zoom and making a presentation with a person across the screen is scary. Getting on a stage and speaking, talking to a stranger, whatever these things are we fear, if we view it as that's outside my comfort zone, it almost insinuates to our subconscious, it always will be. But if I realize as I do the thing that is scary to me today, and if I do it enough, my comfort zone is expanding to include that as a comfortable thing because I'll be capable with it. And I believe, Simon, that's what I've done and continue to do because I have to keep expanding my comfort zone. It's not a one and done thing till the day I die. That's why I'm committed to just being a lifelong learner, because learning and growing is what makes life exciting. And that's another reason why I love this industry so much. I know I can never, ever master it. I will continue to be learning. I'll continue to be stretching and growing. And that's how I want to live. And that's why I love this. Another reason why I love this industry so much.
I love it because I think most people have a fixed mindset, right? Like, I'm shy, I'm not a good talker, or I don't know many people, or I'm not the type of person to be successful, right? And while you said that the comfort zone is always expanding. You can expand that so that the more your skills get better, the more you do things differently, you get better and better. Um, why did you have success so quickly? A lot of people, we have like all these technical issues. Hey, don't edit this out. We have mics going out, lights going off. Hey, this is a special interview. I've never had an interview out of almost 800 episodes where a mic went out and the lights went off. But hey, special. That's when we had you on the third time. So why did you have success so quickly? Like you said, within 1 year, you went right to the top.
Yeah. I think it was all about belief, because at that point, and I don't think for a moment somebody has to use a company's products or services for 15 years to get that level of belief. It's just our story. So it was the belief level. It was the belief that we had in the company. It was the belief that we had in the industry, because 15 years of even being a customer in the industry, we saw plenty of success stories. We were well aware there was a business opportunity attached to this. Our level, so we had 15 years of belief in the industry, 15 years of belief in our company, 15 years of belief in the products. We were a product of the product. And I was able to get my belief up enough to where I thought, if they can do it, we can do it. And I saw a path that we could run on to actually make our dream a reality. So I believe that's why. I think without belief at a certain level, people are held back. We're all held back with, the limiting beliefs is what holds anyone back. So, I think that's the answer. Our belief was high enough that we were running unashamedly, confidently, believing what we had was of greater value to the person on the other end of the telephone or the text or whoever we're communicating to than what we would gain out of it by them joining us as a customer or a distributor.
And I think the listeners and viewers have to realize that even though Allan got to the top in the year, it really wasn't a year. It was like 15 years, right? Because the 15 years of belief building, like if you joined, Allan, yeah, he got started in a year, but it took him 50 years of belief in the industry. Now, obviously, the industry worked. If the industry didn't work, your company will get out of business. You wouldn't have been using the product, right? The company would have been out of business. And also, you've personally gone through a lot of challenges in your life, right? And that's I think that's why you wrote that great book that you just came out with, Life's Hard. And I believe that's all part when you read that, all those when life hit you in the face, punched you, knocked you down. How many years was that? Your whole life, 40 years of it, right? That was what made you successful. It wasn't like, you became the top earner in 1 year. It's the lessons learned from that. So why don't you talk a little bit about that and what motivated you to write that book?
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you asked, because I'm really passionate about the whole topic. It's why the name of my podcast is the same name as the title of my book, because life is hard. And I do believe we can all succeed anyway. As I got further into this business, and I started obviously like we do, we're coaching and leading and mentoring and guiding our new teammates and old teammates for that matter, right? Our downlines. And as I started doing this more and more and having those individual one-on-one conversations with people, and even in group coaching and stuff, I started hearing back. And we've all, any of us that have been leaders and led, if we've even led ourselves, we've heard the limiting beliefs in our own head. But I started hearing these limiting beliefs coming back at me. Well, Allan, you just don't understand my spouse. Allan, you just don't understand my financial situation. You just don't understand my health challenge or what I'm going through with this teenager or, right? The list goes on. And so what I started doing for the longest time, again, my own insecurity, my own ego, pride, all the things, is I didn't want to really let people into the inner part of my life and the greater pain of my life and the failures of my life and the things, because on the outside, it looks really good. Married for now 31 years, but healthy marriage, happy family, healthy body, healthy finances, and all this thing. But what people didn't realize, Simon, was I had lost it during a very compressed, not over 40 years, just over a couple, like 5 years, let's just say a 5-year window, that I had a daughter diagnosed with cancer. And this is just some of the low lights. I call them low lights instead of highlights, everything. But I had a daughter diagnosed with cancer. We had one of our 6 children diagnosed with cancer, another one hospitalized for seizures, uncontrollable seizures, another one living in addiction, a brother who was my business partner before I joined this network marketing industry who took his life, a sister, soccer mom of 4, who took her life, and I could keep going. But I'll never forget, by the way, little sidebar. I remember you mentioned I've been on your show 3 times now. The first time I was on your show, I'll never forget, Simon. I wrote it in my book. I've repeated it. I've given you credit for it because I heard it from you. And I remember you saying, and I've thought about this for years, about what somebody shared with you, right? The swap meet example, where if we all took our challenges and we laid them on the table in front of us where the whole world could see, and anybody could walk around the swap meet and look at your challenges laying on the table in front of you and mine laying on the table in front of me and everybody else's, and we could swap with any person we wanted. We could give them all of our challenges and problems, and we could take all of theirs. We'd probably, after looking around at what other people are dealing with and not telling us, they're not walking around with it on their shirt, we don't know what they're dealing with, would probably go, man, I'll just keep my own. And I'll never forget that. Just thinking, no matter how challenging life got or gets or will get in the future for us, that, you know what? Other people have it much worse. And for me to go into a poor me, why me kind of a mentality is not doing anybody any favors, and certainly myself. But anyway, I'd gone through a lot of these things, and now I'm on the other side of a call sharing with somebody that, hey, by the way, did you know? And, I made mistakes with alcohol, ended up with a DUI. A lot of those other things were not self-inflicted. This was self-inflicted. Drinking too much, DUI, rehab. This is only 10 years, not even 10 years ago. I'm going back in time. So now getting to share some of these things. Yeah, we've got a teenager who's struggling. Yeah, I've had an issue with alcohol in the past, or yeah, we've had this or that. People started going, wow. And you were still able to have a thriving marriage that outperforms most, and an amazing family, and still keep your health and your sanity and crush a network marketing business. Okay, maybe my excuses are put into perspective now. And so when I started seeing that happening and going, man, if I'll just be vulnerable and I'll just set my pride aside and go, hey, this is who I am. This is what we've been through. And this is what we're still going through on some of these things. If it can help people, that's what I'm all about. That's why I joined this business. That's why I took a 90% pay cut to join this business, 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago now, to go full time. I mean, and so I'm going to write a book about it, and I'm going to start a podcast about it. And that's what it's going to be about. It's going to be about empowering people to realize, yeah, life's hard. Marriage is hard. Parenting is hard. Health is hard. It's all hard. Network marketing is hard. Everything is hard that's worthwhile. But regardless of that, you can succeed anyway.
If someone's going through a hard time right now, what advice would you give them?
First and foremost, I can't even imagine going through anything hard without my relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. And I know we share that in common. I know not everybody has that, but I just personally can't even begin to answer that question without saying that from where I sit, I can't even imagine going through some of the things I've been through without him by my side. In addition, to love him with our heart, mind, and soul, and everything that we are, he's given us many capabilities. And one of them is to create a vision for our life. And this is one of the things I really focus on in the book, is because it's something I didn't have. I mean, I would argue on one hand, everybody has a vision. It may be to work a 40-hour week, buy a 12-pack, go home on Friday night and get drunk. That, enjoy the weekend, quote unquote. Yeah, that's some people's vision, which is not much of a vision, right? So everybody has a vision, but not everybody has a vision that compels them to meaningful action. Not everybody has a vision for their life that includes meaningful pursuit of something worthwhile, that they wake up every morning, and it doesn't matter if it's Monday or Sunday or Friday or Saturday, life is exciting, full of new opportunities and new adventures, because they know what they're doing, their mission in life, just in general. And then we can break that down into more specifics. They know why they're doing it, their purpose, and they know who they're doing it with. Their what, their why, their who. And their who is their tribe, their community. And when I went through this storm of my life 10 years ago, it was through all that I learned the importance. Sadly, I should have known this at 20, but I didn't have any mentors in my life that were speaking these kind of things. And that was purpose for writing the book. But I wanted to share some things and help people realize the importance of some of these basic principles. But anyway, to get back on track, vision is it, Simon. With a vision, I mean, I love, and I've told you this before when you came on my podcast, episode 4 on my podcast, you crushed it. I remember, I mean, even like as much as I love like consistency pill and all those points, like it is so critical. And I told you that's like one of my favorite books now, and I love it. But I feel like also, and I know you agree, but consistency, but why? Like, why are we being consistent? Like to have a vision of knowing where we're going. And some people create visions and goals, and then they don't know how to ever achieve them. You know, they need some structure and they need format. But my situation was I didn't even have a vision. I was making a bunch of money. Every day was just a day. I was working for money. There was no purpose. There was no vision. I didn't have accountability. I didn't have a tribe around me. And it was this business that gave that to me. It was this industry that gave that to me. It gave me the community. It gave me the who, the what, and the why. It gave me all of it and a vision for my life of where I'm going. And so I would say to not have a vision when you get punched and knocked down, all you're going to be able to focus on, I know because I did it, was for a season, is the problem and the challenge. But when you have a vision and you know where you're going, you're focused on the vision. You're focused on the prize. You're focused on the finish line, even though figuratively speaking, there's probably no finish line. But then the problem becomes less of a issue in your life because you're looking beyond it and you're moving through it and you have reason to move through it instead of just wallowing in it and getting stuck. So I'd say vision is key. Absolutely.
Yeah. You just said that network marketing, you guys are up and down, some tough moments. This is my favorite question. What is your worst moment in the profession?
You know, there's a lot of micro moments when you think something's going to work out a certain way and it doesn't, even on a daily. And then there's just so many amazing moments in network marketing. That's a tough question, Simon. I would say seeing somebody, I'm thinking of one leader in our team in the past, going back a few years. This was probably the toughest. Seeing somebody go from $30,000 in credit card debt, 2 minimum wage jobs, essentially between the husband and wife, no community, no support, no vision, no mission, just kind of going through life and joining our business, losing over 100 pounds, having amazing health transformation, building a business that, just side part-time. This is just a little part-time thing for them that 2 or 3 years later was bringing them in, or that was doing, let's just say it this way, that was doing $50,000 a month in sales. Okay. So a $600,000 a year business. And then just to see them kind of fade away and disappear after years of investment and years of seeing what life could be like and saying it like I can't even believe our life is like this. This is going to be a part of our life forever. And then seeing life just for whatever reason, take them away. And that's happened a couple of times. And not that they went to other companies, they just drifted away from the campfire. They just, slid back into the life they used to have. And sometimes, like Jim Rohn says, you want to ask why does this happen? There's no logical reason that you can point to and go, why would they do this? He says, don't sign up for that class, because you'll never know why, right? I mean, so those are some of the hardest ones when I think about people who have lives transformed because of this industry and then allow themselves, for whatever reason, to go back essentially to their old way of life, physically, financially, losing the community they once had here in the network marketing industry and all that. That to me, that's the hardest thing because we're all about seeing people's lives transform. And when you see people go back the other way by choice, I guess, there's nothing harder from my perspective.
Well, it shows you like two things that you mentioned about. Number one, they didn't have the vision. They're doing it for the money, not for the vision. I think if you do it for the, I don't have my purpose is greater than money shirt on today, but normally if you're driven by purpose, you keep going. If you're driven by money, network marketing can get pretty boring, right? You're doing the same thing over and over again and you drift away. And then the second thing is like what you just shared, like the mindset. They may have made the money, but unless the mindset grows, you'll lose the money. You'll lose the teams.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that's a great point. I think we've got to be doing it for more than just money. And I'm thankful we are.
When you go through so many challenges, like those tough moments, you talk about your siblings, suicide, all that. How do you mentally can let that go so that you can focus on your business?
Well, it's not easy. And I don't know that, and I don't have a formula. And I wish I could say it was just an easy answer to go, here's what you do, boom, boom, boom. And I can't do that. In fact, we host 3-day team retreats for our team twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall. And then we have our annual company convention in between in the summer. And it was the Friday of our 3-day team retreat, which happened Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it was like the day of, hours before it was supposed to start, when I got the phone call that my brother had taken his life back in 2018. But the same thing I did that day is the same thing I did through other challenges and will continue to do, is look at, again, my vision. I mean, we learned I don't know if you know this or if I ever told you this, but I was a California Highway Patrol officer for just a handful of years in my 20s. Closest I got stationed to where you live was Orange County, Santa Ana. But during a training, it was a 6.5-month long training in Sacramento, where we lived there and went through this training, like boot camp style training. One of the things we learned in driving school, high speed driving, was to keep a high visual horizon. It's amazing when you look way down the road, like as far as you can see, if the road doesn't curve, your vision, your peripheral vision here close to the hood of the car and the lines we need to stay behind actually is enhanced if you can keep your vision way down the road. On the other hand, if you look right over your hood like a new driver does, and you're barely driving right over your hood, you don't know what's coming up ahead. And that's how rear enders happen all the time. Why I'm saying that analogy is because when we can keep a long range vision on where we're going, we can get through, I'm not saying it's easy, but we can get through the hard today when we see where we're going. And so that's what I would always focus on. It's like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this retreat this weekend. I just got this call and we're starting with 100. I mean, it's grown since, but back then I think we had about 130 people come in from all over the country, for a 3-day weekend. They'd invested a lot and we're hosting it. And it's like, what are we going to do? Why am I doing what I'm doing? This is why we're doing it. We're doing it for these people. And so I've got to focus on giving. I got to focus on others. I got to focus on the mission, the why, the what, the how, and keep looking that way and keep moving forward and not allow myself to start falling into victim mindset. And otherwise I would just lose all of my energy and all of my vision and all my purpose in the moment. So I think that's one thing I've done and continue to do that's really helped me. Now, it's important too. It's a whole nother conversation. I'm no psychologist, but I do have to come back and deal with those emotions and those feelings at some point. But even in doing that, I'm still filtering it through, what is my purpose? What is my reason? What am I living for? And what is the end game? And everything in life goes through that filter. And it really is a game changer.
Hey, thank you for sharing that. I did not know about the CHP training, long range. I'm going to try that today.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
Keeping the long range vision, definitely. Yeah, you've been amazing. I'm going to thank you for sharing. As we wrap up the show, some quick questions to pick your brain. Yeah, these are quick one-liners. What is one of your favorite success quotes that motivates you, Allan?
Well, man, 2 come to mind. Can I share 2 real quick?
Yeah.
One is, everything is hard until it gets easy. And I know I've shared that so many times before, but that just, anytime I even think about that question, that's just the first thing that comes to mind. Everything is hard until it gets easy. And the reason why I think about it first is because I'm always thinking about it, because I'm always doing hard things. I mean, you set up, this is my 3rd time on this podcast. I've been on other podcasts. I have a podcast. I was like sick to my stomach and nauseous about coming on your podcast. Every time I do speak or get in front of somebody, I am an introvert by nature. So that I don't think is ever going to go away, but I do tell myself everything is hard until it gets easy. And guess what? It's easier the 3rd time than it was the 1st time. And it'll be easier the next time than it was today. So I think it's such an important mindset to keep in mind. And the second one that I love, and I continue to keep working on this too, because I'm a recovered people pleaser, but to free, I don't know where this quote came from or if it's even a quote, but to free yourself from the world's advice, because they don't know what they're doing anyway. To free yourself from the world's advice, I'm probably butchering it, because they don't know what they're doing anyway. I mean, if we look at the world and we come, obviously some people in the world know what they're doing, but the world as a whole, society as a whole, is in debt. It's overweight. It's, just go down the list. Broken relationships. They don't have the things, if I'm not financially free, not time free. Society as a whole doesn't have what we want. Why in the world are we worried about what they think? Let's free ourselves from their opinions and their advice.
That's so good, because look at the world, the mess the world is. The world's always been a mess. So why listen to that advice, right? That's
Yep.
good. What's one habit that's helped you become successful, Allan?
Hmm. My habits have changed. So it's hard to point to one habit as you would think about maybe a habit, but I would say, I don't know if this could be considered a habit, Simon. This is my answer I'm going to go with is the mindset. I said this earlier, the mindset, because I'm going to keep it specific to this business, the mindset and keeping the focus that what I have to offer somebody is of greater value than what they have to offer me in the context of the business. Said another way, the mindset that if this person joins me as a customer, what they're going to get and benefit from our products is so much greater than the commission I earn on their product. If this person joins me in business as a business partner in our team, what they are going to get, the training, the community, the income potential, all the things, what they are going to get is so much greater than the override I'm going to earn on their suit.
That's good. Very good. What is the best advice you ever received, Allan?
The best advice I've ever received, I would say, is to work every day in this business the same way we want our teammates working. You know, and I don't know who said this quote either, but our talk talks and our walk talks, but our walk talks louder than our talk talks. And they're going to listen to what we say, but really they're watching our feet way more than they're watching our lips. And so do what you want them to do. Don't just talk about it.
What's your favorite prospecting tool? So say someone is a qualified prospect, they want to learn more. Do you do a Zoom right away? Do you meet them one-on-one? Do you get on a phone call? What do you like to use?
I like to use a video. Typically, I like to use a video first. And I like to do that because I want to be, I want to use a system that, I mean, I know that if I just get people right on a Zoom, two reasons. If I just get people right on a Zoom, my close ratio is going to be higher than a brand new person's. I know that, but that's not duplicatable. Second thing is I only have 24 hours in a day. So I want some sort of a filter. So I want to send to a video and then I want to get them in a group chat and then I want to get them on a Zoom.
Is the video a personal video or a company video?
The video is a video that we made for our team. So our product videos are somebody we hired to speak. It's professionally quality done, production done. The business video is actually me doing the speaking, but we made the video for our team.
What's your favorite app on your phone that's not a social media app?
Oh, I would say probably the Boards app. I use Boards. I mean, I've used it multiple times today. I use it all the time. I love that app.
Aside from your book, what are 2 or 3 books you could recommend to MLM Nation?
Man, I don't know if everybody recommends your book, but I sure do love it, Simon. Again, consistency being the key. It's Nicole's word for 2024. My word is no, by the way, saying no to everything that doesn't serve us getting to where we need to go this year. Your word is consistency. So I love your book for that. But one that I've read recently, maybe earlier in 2023, was The Power of Positive Leadership by John Gordon. I loved his Energy Bus book that I read. Was the first book of his I read, and then loved it so much I had to read The Power of Positive Leadership. And I just feel like I'm a very logical person, so I can tend to kind of see the negative and problems in things. And that doesn't serve us really well in this industry. It doesn't serve us really well in life or marriage or anything else. And so bringing the positivity to the business is so, so important. I love that book.
And here's the last question, the $1 million question. You ready?
I'm ready.
Imagine you had to start all over again and you knew no one. You didn't know Nicole, didn't know your kids. You're like an alien that was in another world, but you had all your current knowledge, skills, and wisdom. What's the first thing you do or the first place you go to build a network marketing business from scratch?
First thing I would do is get connected with other like-minded people. And I would want to search out things that we have in places I can go, both online and offline, where I and the group of people have something in common. And the stickier the thing that is in common, the better. Meaning, if I'm in a group for married couples, well, half of the world is married couples. Like that's not super sticky. But if I'm in a group, I was going to say a Tesla owners, fellow Tesla owners, that's not very sticky anyway, because now everybody owns a Tesla. But when I first had a Tesla, that was a kind of a sticky thing. Like, oh, you own a Tesla? I own a Tesla. That's a special thing. It's not anymore. But I would go to things like that. I would think, what is it that I like? What do I enjoy? And my Christian faith, for me, endurance sports, triathlon clubs, online and offline, things like that, where there's a connection point, and I would go make friends, and I would make as many friends as I possibly could. I know you talk about the clam method online, however it's done, connecting with people, communicating with people, connecting them to my social media that would have 0 followers at the time. Because like you said, I just got dropped into somewhere, and discovering their needs, seeing how can I serve you? And I think this is the key, Simon, finding out how can I serve you? How can I help you? Who can I connect you to? What resource do you need? What are you most excited about this year? And how can I help you with that, Simon? Is there somebody I can connect you with? Is there a resource I may be able to have? How can I serve you? And when you go through life going, how can I serve you? I mean, it's just the reciprocal nature of the fact of the matter is people, at least givers will, and those are the people I want to do business with, are going to say, how can I serve you? How can I want to do business with this guy or gal? They're awesome. And so that's what I would do.
As we wrap up, any last words or advice?
Last words of advice I would say is treat the business with intentionality. It's so easy to not do anything in this business because the barrier of entry is so low, which I love. For the price of a family night out, a nice dinner out, you can start a business with most companies. I know not all. But because of that, I think it's so easy not to block in times and treat it like the multi-million-dollar business opportunity that it is. So I think my final words of advice would be to your listeners is treat it like the incredible opportunity that it is and work it daily and be consistent with it. And you'll be shocked, I believe, if you stay consistent and apply the principles you teach so well, Simon, what you can accomplish in maybe a year, but what about 3, 5, 10? Sky's the limit. It's pretty exciting.
And what's the best way our listeners and viewers can connect with you, Allan?
I'm on all the social medias. I mean, Facebook and Instagram are my favorites, but probably the best way would be at my website, Simon, which is all my socials are on there. The podcast is on there, the book, all the things, some free resources, allanblain.com. And Allan is spelled a little uniquely, ALLAN Blain, BLAIN.com. And that's where everything can pretty much be found.
MLM Nation, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And today you've been hanging out with Allan Blain. So keep up the momentum and go to MLMNation.com, click on the podcast tab, and then the show notes of all the nuggets of wisdom, Allan's profiles, his website will be right there. Definitely go follow him and connect with him. Hey, in order to be successful in life, in business, and in network marketing, you must help others. So, Allan, thanks again for sharing your valuable time with MLM Nation. We're grateful to you, and we appreciate you for having a positive impact on millions of distributors worldwide. Thank you so much again, and God bless you.
Thank you for having me, Simon.
Hey, MLM Nation, Simon Chan here for a recap from an awesome show from Allan Blain. And I think that's why, I had him back 3 times, right? I like the no BS talk. Like, hey, network marketing is hard. It's not easy. And I think if you lose, you get discouraged about it, you should be excited because everything that's hard is worth it, right? Everything worthwhile is hard, right? And people say, well, people complain it's so hard. Well, go on welfare, right? Or government benefits. Well, welfare, that's easy, but you don't get paid much. Everything worthwhile is hard. But having that, the key to success during these challenges is having that growth mindset. It's not like, oh, this is the way I am. I'm not good. I don't know many people, but we can grow. Like Allan shared, we're always expanding our comfort zone, right? The comfort zone is not set. Every day, and you do it for skills. Right? Every time you do a little bit more, you get better, right? Every time you do a little bit more, you get better. Like we had a lot of technical issues when we recorded this, but now I know my comfort zone expanded. If I used a different mic, or Allan used a different mic, don't worry, I can handle it. If it's technical issues in the middle of an interview, I can handle it. So my comfort zone is always expanding. And I wanted to expand. I never wanted to be fixed. I always wanted to constantly push and get 1% better. And having that growth mindset that even if you're not good, you can get there, and you're driven by the vision, right? Talk about when during the worst times, and the reason why Allan made, one of the top earners so quickly is not because, yes, 1 year, right? His 1 year was way, way greater than my 1 year because he went through like maybe not 40 years, I said on the show, but at least 10 years of craziness, 10 years of tough and stressful times. That's why he is today. He's been through stuff I've never been through. That's why I got, right? His wife had health challenges. I didn't have a wife at that time, health challenges. How to deal with that with 6 kids and issue, one was struggling with addiction. Right now, I don't even know his kid is better now, but I don't know. But going through that made him a better leader because all these things are the way we learn. Everything is hard, but how do you get better each day, right? And having the long-term vision, like, hey, this is where I'm going to be. I may be here today, but where it's going to be. I love that. I'm going to try that when I drive today later. Having seen way farther down, right? Instead of just seeing close. If you see up close, I don't have a result, or people said no, I can't do it. But if you see a longer vision, you're driven by vision. You're driven by vision and purpose. You keep going. If you're driven just by money and results, it's going to be hard, and you're going to end up quitting. You're not going to stay consistent. Because life is hard. Life is going to be hard. My late mentor, Jim Rohn, taught me, don't wish for less problems, wish for more wisdom. I think we can all wish for more wisdom. Last thing I'm going to share with you, there's so many aha moments is, the world doesn't know what's, I actually don't have the notes put up here, but don't listen to what the other people are saying. Free yourself from other people's opinions because they don't know what they're doing anyway, right? If you look at the world's messed up. We have positive people looking to fix it, but the general public out there, the news and the media, people out there, they don't know what's going on. Your close friends, they may have good intentions, but they don't know. Free yourself from the opinions and stay focused on the vision and do what you need to do. So, and the last thing is, I love the $1 million question, to giving value, giving value, right? If you give value, eventually it comes back down to you, right? Allan, I don't know what he did in his previous job, but he gave a lot of value. So when he did decide to go in, people listened to him. And also he had 15 years of belief building. He used the product for 15 years. He believed in the company, believed in the industry, believed in the product. He just had to work on the belief in himself. And going to that event, go to convention, you got to go to convention. Got to have a mentor. If others can do it, I can do it. Anyway, great show. Love Allan and his wife. They're amazing people, amazing power couples. Go follow them. Go to MLMNation.com. Click on the show notes on the podcast. You see the show notes. You see the link to their website, social media profiles. Go follow them. And don't forget, this took a lot of Allan's time as well. So please leave us a review. Let us know. Subscribe to us on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to us on the podcast. Share this with one of your team members. Because, hey, the reality is network marketing is hard, but you can do it if you learn to think correctly. The solutions are there. Hey, everyone, I'm loud and proud to be part of this amazing profession. Allan, still remember, first year in the show, 8.5 years ago, and now still doing even better than ever. So super proud of him. Super proud of our profession. Now it's over to you. So make sure you apply and go out there and have a positive impact on someone's life.